Welcome to the American Warrior Festival podcast, a celebration of our troops, veterans, and American way of life. I'm your host, Dan Clor. The American Warrior Festival podcast brought to you by the Red Osier Landmark Restaurant, Western New York's premier dining experience, known for its amazing prime rib and dedication to the veteran community. Visit them online at theredosier.com. Hey friends, welcome to episode 9 of the American Warrior Festival podcast. This is our first venture into video podcasting. So you see our fancy little studio all set up by our amazing set designer, Christine. And we have a very special guest here today, Marine Corps veteran and Hollywood actor here, Tim Colceri. Most of you will remember him as the door gunner in Full Metal Jacket. How's it going, brother?
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Good to see you, Don.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's been a couple of years, I guess. Last time I saw you was the Marine Corps Ball 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Do you remember I did a little stand-up routine there that night?
How could I forget? Oh, hell yeah.
Anyway, I've done 8 shows since then. A one-man show. Like your business no longer be able to play in front of a large group, neither can I. So I had to stop during the pandemic. But yeah, I that was the first time I had a taste of it from you guys, and then I went out and did like 8 shows.
Oh man, you knocked it out of the park that night. Had everyone rolling.
It got you know, I did about a year of rehearsing after I saw you, and have a pretty good. I come out doing Full Metal Jacket, Drill Instructor. Sergeant Hartman, then I do my drill instructor in Weeds, and I do a bunch of stand-up comedy about when I was a kid with my mom. I do about 5 Marine Corps stories. Then I do a story about my experience of trying to get back to the base by 0700, and that's a pretty amazing story. The guy didn't have a top on his car, and I had to hitchhike back to the base. And if I didn't get back, I was going to lose my stripe. I was up for promotion. I was going to lose that, and I was going to go to the brig. They gave me those 3. So I knew it was important. And I was based at El Toro, and El Toro was 362 miles from the base was Phoenix, Arizona, my hometown. So if you go on leave, you're only allowed to go 300 miles. Well, I didn't think that 62 miles would be that big a deal. And all of a sudden, I'm in trouble, right? And they had the controller strike. First time in aviation history, they shut down every airport. So I was trying to get back to the base, and my car broke down on the way back. And I had to hitch a ride with this guy, and it was so cold he didn't have a top on his car. And he gave me his jacket because I was freezing. And after about 40 miles, he pulled the car over and said, "I got to get my jacket back. I'm freezing my ass off. But if you can get down there where your feet are, I got a toggle top I can put over the top of you. You won't be comfortable, but you won't be cold." So I crawled underneath where my feet were and crawled underneath this toggle top, and a few miles down the road, a few raindrops started to hit. I go, "Oh my God, it's going to rain." Next thing I know, the perfect storm, right? Yeah, the guy falls asleep at the wheel. We go over a cliff into a canal, and I get 36 stitches in my head and a really screwed up knee. And I said, "Are you on drugs?" He said, "No, man, I fell asleep at the wheel." And I looked up, and he just went right over into a canal. So now we're floating on this, we're kind of sinking in the canal. And I jumped over like a boat now to the side and crawled up the 100 feet where we went. Never saw the guy again. I started hitchhiking, and they were leaving. I looked like Swamp Thing, so they were leaving from this lane to go to that lane to get away from me. And I finally, I went in front of a guy. He stopped. He didn't hit me, and I jumped in the car. He said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm all right. I got to get back to the base by 0700. I'm going to the brig." He goes, "I'm late for work. I can get you to the ramp." So he got me to the ramp, and it's about a mile from the ramp to the MP that brings everybody in. And I'm limping, I'm coming, and I'm bleeding, and I'm limping, and I'm coming. Like after the MP, he looked at me, and he blew his whistle, beep, beep, beep. He stopped everybody, and looked at me, and he waved me in, and he saluted me, and went, "What the hell happened to you, Marine?" And I said, "Oh, what a night." And I signed in at 06:58. And when I get into telling that story, and that's the fastest I've ever told it, by the way. They clap when I get done with it. It's a funny story. So then I go into the Marine Corps about, or getting a Brad a flight attendant. You remember, did you know that was a Brad a flight attendant? This is
No,
pretty
actually, wait. Did you talked about that? I think at the birthday
funny.
ball.
Oh yeah,
there.
I did the gay flight attendant thing.
Oh, yep. We have to do
that's
that.
funny. And in my show, I mooned the audience like I mooned a girl when she was doing her demos. And then I get based in LA, and I didn't want to be an actor. And then the guy told me to go to his acting class, and I've been pretty much doing it ever since. And I tell a couple stories of failing, and then I tell the story about sending the tape to Stanley Kubrick, and 3 years later they cast me out of thousands of the tapes to play the drill instructor. And that story takes about 30 minutes to go from A to Z to do what I went through. And then some serious stuff at the end, and it's a 90-minute show. It's a long show.
Wow.
So,
yeah. So what was it called? What was the name of the show? Was Stanley Kubrick or Goodnight Stanley Kubrick, wherever you are? Or
you know what? That's right. We were going to start that. That's right. That's where it all kind of came from.
Oh, okay.
But no, it ended up being called the Get Some Tour. That's what it's called.
Okay. Yeah.
The Get Some Tour. And I'm planning on shooting the next one for Netflix. And then I'm going to do one live and then intermingle the best takes. That's the thing different. I've done like 60 films, and they say cut, we do it again until we get it right.
So
you're doing a one-man show. You got one shot at it.
Sure. So this is going to get picked up by Netflix?
Well, I'm going to try to. I think that it's not very many military comedians out there that have entertainment of stories that I've come up with. And I'm telling you, the women like my show. My show is interesting. I didn't see anybody heckling me, and nobody's leaving, and it's got some good and bad. It makes you think, makes you laugh. I have a lot of comedy in it, and I look forward to doing it again. But I'm getting kind of old. I don't know if I'm going to travel around the world doing my one-man show. So I would figure if I do it for Netflix, get it done with, and then it's done.
Yeah, for sure. Now, are you still in Vegas or?
No, I'm in LA right now.
Wait, you are in LA?
Yeah.
Man.
Right now I am.
I should have asked you that question. You could have came down here to Newport Beach and hung out with me right here.
Oh, I didn't know you were here. That's funny. I'm in Tustin. I'm not right down the street.
Oh, shit. Don, he's in Tustin right now.
I didn't even know that.
Well, get in your car, man.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
What the hell? Oh,
we can do another one of these. This doesn't have to be the only one.
Yeah, this doesn't have to be the only one.
See, man, we could have just had you in studio.
Dude, that's a crazy echo right there, Don. That caused a bunch of stuff. I don't know what you did there.
So anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at. I've got a couple of screenplays that are being looked at. One called The Birth of Pride about my Marine Corps. That's what got me Full Metal Jacket. That screenplay. And during this pandemic, I was a writer, but I didn't know it had to be in the proper form. So they have this thing called Final Draft Pro. It tells you, exterior, Don's house, daytime, and it has space, dash, dash, day, dash, dash. And if you have one of those dashes off, the readers won't read it. So I thought, wow, I better put it in that form. And I did that for two screenplays. One called The Birth of Pride is my Marine Corps movie, and which doesn't need any rewrites. The other was called Marry Me and Fly for Free, of my experiences being a flight attendant, and now it's called Buckle Up. And it's a true story about two male flight attendants in the early 80s when it was fun to fly. And the one guy actually died at 32. He was running cocaine. He would fly pontoon planes into Cuba and get the cocaine and have his wife run it. Yeah. And my character falls in love with a girl he meets on a layover, but she thinks she's a flight attendant, and it turns out she's a co-pilot. And she's been trying to tell him, and all of a sudden he can't get on the plane unless he gets in the jump seat in the cockpit. And there she is flying the plane, and they look at each other, and it's a cute ending love story.
Nice, man.
So and they're looking at. I got some pretty big people are looking at. One hand, I got too much to talk about, don't I?
Hey,
you don't have to even interview.
No. So go back to what was that? The gay flight attendant bit. What was that about? Yeah, let's get into that.
Okay. Well, when I come back after I used to have an intermission, and I found it in Vegas. They don't want you to have an intermission. They want the 90 minutes so they can get right back and gamble. So I had to cut out my intermission. But after my intermission of limping off the stage from that car accident, I limp back on, and I go, yeah, I did go to Vietnam. Spent 13 months in Da Nang, and I was limping down to the park, and I see this guy coming towards me. He's dragging his left foot, and I looked at him and I went, yeah, Da Nang, Vietnam, 1969. And he looked at his foot. He went, dog shit, about a block down the road, right? So then I come across this old man crying his eyes out. And I go, oh, man, you all right? No, I'm not all right. Do I look all right? Oh, you don't look so good. What's wrong? I'm 80 years old. I got a 35-year-old wife. Oh, she's fucking hot. And as soon as I get home, all she wants to do is have sex. Sex, sex. Every day, as soon as I get home, it's sex. I go, what's wrong with that? I can't remember where I live. See, these are kind of jokes for old people, by the way. You gotta make sure your jokes. So I turn around and I go, you know, I was a Marine, a pro golfer. Now what am I going to do with my life? Maybe I'll become a flight. No, I go, maybe I'll become a pilot. No, I go, maybe I'll become a policeman. No, a fireman. I know what I'll become. And I run around the corner. I put my brand up jacket on, and I come back in and I go, a flight attendant. And I go, can you imagine me becoming a flight attendant? In fact, I think I'm the only Marine who ever became a flight attendant. I guarantee you, they weren't looking for a few good men when they hired me.
How long did you do that? How long did you do that gig for?
I did that for Brandon for a year and a half, and I flew Hong Kong, Singapore, Seoul, and Guam. And then when I got into acting, I quit and started, taking acting lessons and trying to get a job as an actor. And I needed a job, so I got on with an airline called Hawaii Express. I flew from LAX to Hawaii, an hour layover, and flew right back. And I only had to fly 7 days a month. But you're in the air like all day, so you're pretty beat. But I never missed a day of my auditioning. And it's fun. People fly over to Hawaii. They're so excited. When you pick them up 9 days later, they're all sunburned and sleep all the way home.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good times there.
That was a good gig. So anyway, when I did the gay thing, I looked over to the right, the guy was going, we have 2 doors each in the aircraft and window extra silver each wing. The safe information card is located in the seat pocket in front of you. Coke 7 Up, would you like a pillow? I made sure they didn't think I was like that. I went, all right, listen up, magnet. We got 2 doors each in the aircraft and window extra silver each wing. Jack and Coke, Bloody Mary. Any of you pussies want a pillow? What are you looking at, lady? That's right, I'm a man.
So how'd they like that as a flight attendant? Any of you pussies need a pillow?
Yeah, I didn't talk like that. That's just for my comedy.
How cool would that be, though?
Well, it was
you
a
found
fun
an airline
job,
to let you speak like that.
Well, it would be fun. Well, they have a restaurant in Vegas. It's called Dick's, and they treat you like a dick. What do you want, asshole? What do you want to eat, dick? They talk to you like that, and it's kind of funny, except the fact the food sucked. I didn't mind them being mean to me. I just didn't. The food wasn't that great.
Yeah, if you're gonna be an asshole, at least feed me some good food.
Just give me some good chow.
So now you were a drill instructor on weeds as well.
Yeah.
So how'd that gig go?
Oh wow, it was great. After having that drill instructor in Full Metal Jacket for so long, I really wanted to get that off my mind. And they were auditioning every guy in LA from 19 years old to 70. Anybody that looked military, they were bringing them in. And they got down to 20 guys on a callback. And 5 of them were like WWF wrestlers, the big guys. And I'd hear them yelling. They were yelling, and they were big and bad, but they didn't have the rhythm that a drill instructor has,
Right.
That certain rhythm. And I knew it. And I was like number 17 to go in. And after I did their dialogue, I threw in a couple of my Marine Corps real dialogue. So this is the dialogue. It's great. Listen, this is great. All right, listen up. Sorry, it's my sorry-ass job to inform you, ass felts and salad tossing. Oh, gasoline packets. But that ugly face you're staring at right now is one of the most important goddamn faces you ever lay your eyes upon. That is your battle buddy. Your battle buddy's like a Siamese twin. He shits, you shit. He fucks up, you fuck up. He goes down, you go down. 6 weeks from today, this entire group of Girl Scouts will be shipped over to Iraq. Make no mistake about it. I will rape each and every one of you before you will go. So you best pay perfect attention to every goddamn word comes out of my godly mouth. That's a long line. Then the guy comes up and goes, excuse me, Sergeant Phil Cole. I go, who in the hell gave you permission to break rank on my formation, you flaccid little dick? They told me I was going to get a desk job. Hey, tell everybody you're going to get a desk job, you useless twat. Yeah, but I have 8 toes. I got 4 dicks. You better fall back in line before you use one to fuck up the ass. Now move out. Butwin.
Nice. Good family content. I love it, man.
Actually, very funny. You know, it's funny. It was an over-the-top show, and it was for the Army. And I played it like a Marine drill instructor, and it was perfect for what they were looking for. Isn't that funny?
That's awesome, man. Now let's go backwards a little bit. Let's talk about your, service in Vietnam and joining the Marine Corps and kind of how that all played out.
Well, I'm getting old, so if we want to know how old I am, 69, so it's getting old.
Ah, you're looking great, man.
Well, not for 69. I'm all right. I don't look that a little bit. In 1969, I turned 18, and at that time, you were forced by the government. There was no, you had to sign up for the draft. Well, they had a draft, but you had to sign up for the service. So I wanted to go down and my buddy was in the Navy, and he was a year ahead of me, and he went through the Navy, and he got in the Navy for 2 years. And I saw what it did to him, and I figured I can do anything for 2 years. I'm going to go down and join the Navy. So I went down to join the Navy. I took this test, and I got done taking the test. And the guy says, "Okay, son, when do you want to start your 4-year enlistment?" I said, "I don't want to join for 2." So that's the Army. That's the Army and the Marines is 2. The Navy and the Marine and the Air Force is 4 years. I said, "My best friend's in the Navy. He's in for 2 years." He said, "Well, he must have flunked the test." I said, "I'll flunk the test too." He said, "You just passed the test. What would it be, son?" I looked at my dad. I looked at this guy, and I wasn't prepared to go for 4 years. I wanted to get the 2 years in and get it out. So I walked out. I looked at the poster, 4 years Navy, big carrier in the ocean. Next one was a jet flying through the sky, Air Force, 4 years. Next one, this guy had fatigues in the ground and, with a weapon in like a jungle, Army, 2 years. Next one was a guy in fatigues in the jungle, but he had all this green stuff around his face. You could barely see his eyes. The Marines. I said, "You know what? I'm going to need that camouflage. If I'm going to be on the ground, I'm going to need that paint." And I walked in the room, and the guy said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "I'm here to take the test." He said, "What test?" I said, "The test to join." He picked up a pen. He goes, "What's that?" I said, "A pen." He goes, "You passed. Sign here." And I'm in the Marines.
and that's how it rolled out, man.
That's how I got in the Marine Corps. I wasn't thinking, "Oh boy, I want to wait and go kill people." I wasn't one of those guys.
Sure.
But I went in 124 pounds in boot camp. I was a house mouse.
Wow.
I was a 5th out of all the physical stuff. I could run and push ups and all that. Broke the Marine Corps sit-up record. The screenplay, The Birth of Pride, has a lot to do with what I went through in boot camp. When I got off the plane flying for the first time I've ever been in a plane to go to boot camp, I had a St. Christopher's medal and a shaving kit. And as soon as I got off the plane, the drill instructor said, "What the hell is that?" "Shaving kit, sir. My father gave it to me." He took the shaving kit and threw it. And then he looked at me and he went, "I'm your father, I'm your mother." And he reached up and took that St. Christopher's medal and ripped it off my chest. He went, "I am God." You get out there and you stand in the tent, you come get when the bus comes. And I couldn't believe wherever I was going, I knew it was going to be bad. Ironically, which is interesting, when I was in boot camp, July 20th, 1969, a historical moment. And we were called to go to bed. Lights out, hatches closed. Lights out, hatches closed. Aye, sir. Good night, girls. 5 minutes later, lights came back on. Everybody on the road, quickly move. Not with packing gear or anything. It was white skivvies and dog tags. And we were like half naked running out to the parade deck. And he went prayer position, and we all got down on our knees and our hands out folded like this. And he went, "Today is a historical day, for today and Marina set forth on the moon." Repeat after me. "God bless Neil Armstrong. May he have a safe return home." We all went like this. "Sir, God bless Neil Armstrong. May he have a safe return home." "Aye, sir." Good night, girls. It's this much in my screenplay. It's such a beautiful scene. Because if you light it right, our little bald heads, you can make those little halos on there on the lighting. It's a cool scene. And that's where I was in 1969. And then my MOS came back. You take all those tests to see what you're good at. And I happened to be good at seeing I didn't need a level to see measurements. I thought everybody had that talent. What will fit in that box? So I ended up being a packaging technician. They sent me to Albany, Georgia. to learn how to make styrofoam and, desiccants that stuff in the, when you have a camera or lenses that do not eat. Well, when we pack stuff, we'd have like a big square of a desiccant. And I had to pack computers. I got to talk to a 4-star general. And my MOS was only 22 of us in the whole MOS. So I had a lot of power, even though I was a Lance Corporal. Then I became a Corporal E4. And I got out on my 20th birthday. I spent 13 months in Da Nang, Vietnam. And I got out on my 13th birthday. They offered me $10,000 in sergeant. And I went, bye-bye. I'm going to college and moving on.
Yeah, we're done here, right? And how long total? You did the 2 years?
2 years.
The 2 year
2
enlistment.
years.
Yeah.
That was great, man. Get it in and get it over with. But I did spend the full 13 months in Da Nang, which a lot of guys were getting out a lot earlier than me. That pissed me off.
How'd that work out? How'd they get out early?
They were shitbirds. They didn't want them there. So I said, my captain, I said, look, that makes me want to be a shitbird so I can go home. They're not going until I go. And that's what I had to wait until the very end. Whatever. It was every day was a Monday there. It was like, it was just, I didn't like it there at all.
No, I'm sure, man.
No, I couldn't wait. I can remember we got in the Freedom Bird to come home, and we were flying out of Da Nang and full of Marines. Hang on.
Go ahead, pick it up, man.
Oh. Hey, Jeff. Yes, I am on a podcast right now live. You're on it with me now. He goes, you want to tell stories? Oh, that's why you can't hear, because I got my iPods on. You want me to call you back? We're in the middle of a thing. Are you going to be around? I'll be around. Okay, I'll call you right back. Bye. That guy, I have there's a movie coming out called, I don't know if I should talk about this. Maybe I better not.
You don't want to break the news here?
No. It's not it's not official yet, and I don't wanna,
yeah, right.
I'm not allowed to be, but anyway, I got a couple of things I'm working on. So one of them is Michael Bay's got a film coming up. He's a pretty big director, and there's also a thing in West Virginia I just read for. Michael Keaton is in it, and it's called Dope Sick. It's about the OxyContin.
Really?
I have to play like a real rich, wealthy asshole, and it's kind of weird because I'm yelling all the time, and this guy doesn't yell, and he just speaks nothing like I've ever spoken. So it was really difficult to memorize the dialogue, the way he talks, every word.
Do you get approached a lot for a lot of those roles where you have to yell and be pretty intense, probably, right?
I just looked at my demo tape the other day. I'm good at yelling, and I'm good at that intensity, but you don't see the comedy. I can do comedy. I don't get a chance, and I don't get romantic roles at all.
No?
But no, I've had a few, but not very many. I remember them the most. But I like what I did in this character. I don't know if I'm old enough to play the guy, but it's a real guy. He was a founder of a company, Purdue Pharmaceuticals or something. You look him up, Mortimer Sackler is his name. And that's the role that I've been reading for. So I'm hoping that I probably did a good job. We'll see what happens. I just sent that out yesterday. So that's what I mean. I'm in LA, and I'm trying to work out and get a new management. I'm trying to do my one-man show. I got a couple of screenplays out there. I'm keeping pretty busy, actually, but I can't do anything till this pandemic thing's over with, except audition like this, which is good. I like that. You don't have to drive anywhere.
Oh, so you're doing a lot of Zoom. Everyone's doing the Zoom auditions.
Yeah, like that's what they're doing, but they're starting to come back.
Okay.
Starting to come back, but I can't do like you. You can't play your music right now. It's hard. I can't do my one-man show. So, it's screwed up, man. I can't wait for this whole thing to end.
Yeah, you're telling me, man, we lost a whole year of events. And, well, I guess the silver lining is we started the podcast and worked on organizing some things and getting ready for next year. We're going to be doing a bunch of events at firing ranges and getting into some, like, battlefield events. Hopefully, like, we had Gettysburg on the calendar. I'm going to start doing like Pearl Harbor, Gettysburg, start doing battlefield themed concerts. We're still.
How long, is this the one you've done? I think I heard you say 9.
Yep.
Wow.
This is number 9, and it's our first video one. So
Wow.
it's been pretty cool. We had a little casualty here, this little lamp that broke, but you know, adapt and overcome, right? Yeah.
And
so
I thought you were back east. When did you come back?
I am. I've actually been going back and forth, traveling back from New York to out here in SoCal. So I'm out here. Yeah. So we got to get together and hang out, have some beers. I'm here for like another month.
Me too. Perfect.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
So yeah, because you're bouncing back and forth between Vegas and LA.
Yeah, in South Carolina. I've been back there. That's where my agent is now, and I was teaching kids actually back there for about a month.
Oh, you still doing the acting classes?
Yeah, well, it's weird because you can only teach like 8 of them, and they had to watch, whatever. I don't like teaching through the Zoom. I can teach one-on-one acting on the Zoom, but trying to teach an improv class or a bunch of kids all at once, I'm better being on hands-on.
Yeah.
Right there in the room with them. And teaching little 6-year-old boys, they bounce off the wall. You know what I do? I make them stand at attention. And I say at ease. And you see these little 6-year-old kids, little girls, like standing at attention. Don't look at me. Don't be itching. Don't be looking at me. And they're trying so hard. And the parents are going, this is wonderful. I should use this at home.
Some discipline here with these little ones.
Oh,
huh?
God, it's really fun to watch.
How do they do? Are they able to kind of keep the ants out of the pants there?
The way I look at it, every one of those classes are fun and happy, and you learn a lot about their personalities, and they learn to open up. It's like a therapy thing for them. Even if they don't ever become actors, that class should be taken by every person in the world. I never used algebra, I don't think, once in my life. I'm using these listening skills and creative skills every day. And so are the kids, and some of them are very talented. A lot of fun. We do so many different ones. One's called Story. I put 4 actors on stage, and I point to one. He says, once upon a time, and he starts telling the story, and I point to somebody else. They have to continue the story. And everything in my class is yes. I don't hear the no or negative or won't, can't, don't. I stop you. Everything is yes. Everything's in a positive way. There's one where you're on stage and somebody else is your voice. When they talk, you move your mouth. Teaches you how to listen.
Oh, that's cool.
They're fun drills that everybody can do, 6 years old or 100. And I teach adults too, and they have more fun doing the class than the kids. So, and I thought about doing that for corporate. You think about that, when to talk, when not to talk, how to listen, how to create. Those are sales skills, big time.
Oh, absolutely. That can transfer into many different aspects of life. Learn when to talk and when to shut up and listen, right? I mean, it's.
Yep. I feel like I do a lot of talking.
So let's talk about, your most famous role, if you'd like. Why don't you go ahead and kick it off and give us your tagline, man?
To get some? You want me to do that now?
Hell yeah. We don't have to do the monologue right now if you don't want, but.
I'll give you a little. Get some. Get some. Get some. I got you, brother. Get some. Get some. Anyone who runs is a VC. Anyone who stands still is a well-disciplined VC. Well, you boys ought to do a story about me sometime. Why should you do a story about you? Because I'm so fucking good. And that ain't no shit neither. I've got me 157 dead goose killed and 50 water buffaloes too. Them are all certified. Any women or children? Sometimes. How can you shoot women and children? Easy. You just don't lead them so much. Ain't war hell. That's about it.
Oh man, classic. Some of the guys when they knew you were going to be on, they said, you have to bring Tim on just because he's so fucking good, right? So
what happened with that story? Kind of this is a long version, I guess. I had just started acting. I did about 3 or 4 national commercials. I think 2 films. And I sent a tape to Stanley Kubrick. He was casting by tapes. And I got me a drill instructor hat. I got a real guy right out of boot camp. And I started yelling at him. And he wasn't an actor. And he started laughing. And I said, you think it's fucking funny? And I started smacking him around and yelling at him some more and sent the tape off. And 3 years later, I got a phone call from Warner Brothers saying that Stanley was interested in me and this other guy. So I knew he was in for 4 years. So he just got out of boot camp, and it was 3 years later. So I knew he had another year in. And I knew the Marine Corps was not going to let him go do film. I knew they wouldn't. So I thought I wasn't going to get hired because they wanted to hire us. Well, they found him 3 days later, and they said, we found him, and he's on leave at Hermosa Beach. We want you to direct him through these 3 scenes and send him back to us. I went to this kid. I hadn't seen him in 3 years. I said, I told you they might want to use you too. Didn't I tell you? No, but he couldn't act. And he had to do that dialogue, which was like, this is my rifle. There may like it, but this one's mine. And he just didn't do very well. He wasn't an actor. And I only went, I can hear you. A couple of those and set the tape off. 3 days later, I got a phone call from Warner Brothers. Oh, Tim, this is the president of Warner Brothers. Tim, I have a tremendous amount of faith in Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick has a tremendous amount of faith in Tim Colceri. And I took the phone and screamed out the door, Stanley Kubrick has a tremendous amount of faith in me. Yes, sir, come on down and sign your contract. I went down and signed my contract, 8-week contract. He says, you have the finest role in the film. You play the role of the drill instructor. I went out to the elevator, didn't take the elevator, I took the stairs. I sat in the first stair and opened up, and my character didn't stop talking for 60 pages. I thought, oh my gosh, how did I get this role? I had that role for 8 months, rehearsing it. They did the Vietnam scenes. They flew me to London. I got off in 8-degree weather. They put me in a hotel. They didn't want me, since I was a drill instructor, they didn't want anybody to get used to knowing me, so I'd be more intimidating if they didn't know my personality. So they kind of put me away from the crew and everybody. And I spent 3 days in a hotel, and he said, as soon as I got off the plane, he said, learn pages 1 through 28 by tomorrow morning. Driver will pick you up at 7. Went right to the hotel room. And that dialogue is yelling dialogue, and there's nobody in the hotel. So I'm yelling at nobody, or I'm trying not to yell. And the maids are looking at me thinking I'm crazy because I'm in there yelling at nobody. I did that the next day. He put me on tape. 3 days later, Stanley wanted to meet me. I met Stanley, and he said, if you want 1,000 takes, I'm prepared to give you 1,001. He said, don't believe all that propaganda. Is everything all right? I said, well, I am, staying in this hotel, and I'm yelling at these maids. They're looking at me like I'm weird. He turned to his right and went, find him another place to live. And that night after I got off to work, she had 3 places for me to check out. The first place I looked at, I was so tired, had some leather, manly-looking furniture. I said, I'll take it. He said, Michael Bean lives right above you, and his wife and 2 kids. I didn't know who Michael Bean was. Turns out, met him a week later, and we've been best friends ever since. He was starring in Aliens, played Johnny Ringo in Tombstone. And we met that night or that weekend and just been best friends ever since. Anyway, so I ended up having that role, rehearsing that role. And Michael recently was he was in Vegas doing a signing. And he said, I got an extra day there. I'm going to stay with you, let's hang out. We started hanging out. When he got back to LA, he wanted to tell everybody what he saw that I went through with Stanley Kubrick. And he wrote an article called Full Metal Straitjacket. And he didn't like the way he handled me. And then I was rehearsing all the time with him. I knew I was going to be good at that role if I got a chance. And after that, the Hollywood Reporter did an article on me that's up for an award right now. And I don't know if you've seen the thing on YouTube. It's called Cinema Tyler, a Tortured Actor. It has a film clips of everything I went through with Stanley. So I don't have to tell the story anymore. Finally, people can go watch this thing. It's pretty accurate. But what happened was I had the role for 3 months. Lee Ermey was yelling at extras and started adding a lot of that great dialogue. They liked it. Stanley didn't know what to do. He had 2 starting quarterbacks. He sent me a letter saying, I'm going to use Lee. Could you stay on and play the door gunner role? And it crushed me. And because I had that role for so long, I also felt like I lost my troop, my men. I lost my role. It just hurt me. But I loved the door gunner role. I really did. I just wish I would have started out that way, because the door gunner role was a good role, but the other role was a big role. It would have been a name role forever and ever. And that was my role for a long time. So after they took the role away from me, 3 days after filming him, he hit a tree, almost died, was in a car accident, was 4.5 hours underneath his car. They called me and said, don't go anywhere, you had a bad accident, you're going to be the drill instructor. Once again, I got the role back. A week went by, the insurance company said, you're going to start with him, you're going to finish with him. They shut down production until he healed. In that 7-month period of him healing, they decided to call my agent and say they're thinking about cutting off the door gunner roll. But they didn't tell me. Next week, 100% sure we've cut the door gunner roll out. Tell Tim we're really sorry. Now I'm not even in the movie. I went from best role to a great role to no role. And now I don't know what to do. So I get a lawyer and say, they cut my hair off to play a drill instructor for 2 years. I used to do commercials, but now I wasn't able to do them because the hair was always short. And I didn't know what that was going to do. But then I got a letter from Stanley saying, my lawyer said, well, we're litigation. I should not communicate with you whatsoever. But I want to let you know that it's not unusual to lose your role to another actor or have your role cut out in the film. The work you've done is excellent. I can use you in future films if it's a role suitable. I'm sorry this happened. Sincerely, Stanley Kubrick. And I kind of went, doesn't do me any good.
Right.
And then about, I think it was 8 months later, they decided to put the door gunner role. Bruce Willis and Val Kilmer were also up for that role. And they offered it back to me. And I got on the phone. I said, you give me this role back because I'm suing you? I said, Tim, it costs $60,000 a day just to rent the helicopter. Not worried about you suing him. I went, okay. And I went over to London, memorized the other two guys. They shot them on a ground. So they weren't even in the helicopter when I was filming. And I had this practice dialogue timing with people not even talking to me, doing my dialogue. I did that for a week. And then the day before I shot, Stanley asked me to do my dialogue. And he looked at the casting director and went, you gave him the wrong dialogue to memorize? I thought, you got to be kidding me. I spent a whole week and now you give me the wrong stuff? Are you trying to make me crazy to play the crazy door gunner? Is that what you're trying to do? That's what I thought. And then I went to, he said, come over here to his room. And he started typing that. He typed that dialogue in 30 seconds. He said, here, what was that line? He said, dead goose killed. I like that line. Dead goose killed. All right, here, hold this. I'll be there tomorrow at 11. You get up in the helicopter and shoot it. Get used to the weapon. And it's 278 miles from here in Norfolk, England. Got in the car. We drove all the way up to Norfolk, England. Got out, started doing my scene. He wasn't around. I did it laughing, an enjoyment of what I was doing. First directorial words he came to me was, Tim, he looked at it on tape. This angle's still off. Tim, don't laugh like that anymore. I don't like this angle. Have the other angle. Don't laugh like that anymore. Give me an everyday killer smile. And I thought, I walked around the helicopter thinking, what does that mean? Just because I was a Marine, went to Vietnam, I know what a killer smile is. And I said it to Stanley, and he goes, don't worry about it. Just shoot the weapon. So I went up and I started shooting the weapon, and I went to the cameraman, I want to talk. And I did it without smiling. I mean, just a little smile, no laugh. And I jumped back out, and I took Stanley by the neck. Stanley, I'm almost 99% sure I did exactly what you wanted me to do. And he looked at Leon, and Leon went, and then he looked at this monitor, and he went, this angle's still off. Good, Tim. This angle's still off. Good, Tim. Go up and do it 13 more times just like that. So I did it 13 more times like that. I did the last thing, the sun was going down. I shot they were real Vietnamese running, and I shot them. Only took 3 takes. Couldn't wait to get back to the hotel and pass out. No, we had to drive back to London, make sure the film was good. Barely up. I was nodding out all the way. Went back to LA for a year. Movie got edited. Trailer came out. Everybody's going, trailer Full Metal Jacket came out, and you're all in the trailer. I'm in the trailer? That means I made it in the movie. I'm in the movie. I'm in the trailer. And then I went to see the premiere with Michael. I got a phone call from Warner Brothers telling me they showed the film last night to 300 Vietnam vets, and they all come out talking about that door gunner.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, everyone remembers that scene. You know, you say that the get some scene, and everyone recalls it. They can even recite the lines back.
I know.
You know, it's really, to be a part of something that iconic is got to feel good.
I wish I had one more of those in my life. Just
hey,
one
man,
more.
Keep it going, right? Keep it going. So, yeah, I mean, what was like some of the most interesting things or, you know, the best part about working with Stanley Kubrick? What do you think were, you know, his biggest strengths?
Well, he has a lot. First of all, his lighting in every movie, if you're watching, is just brilliant lighting. Yeah. And that's because before he was a director, he was a photographer. So he knows lighting. He knows framework. He knows lenses real well. And I like the way he works with his actors. He gets them to perform better than anybody else. But he's one of the few. If you notice, the great movies are written and directed by the same person. Because if the writer writes it, you have to direct it. You might get a different vision than the writer does. Stanley writes almost all his material and directs it and produces it. He buys his own props, then he sells them back. So he's in complete control of his work, and that's half the battle. He has nobody. Even when Warner Brothers executives came in, he put yellow tape around everything and didn't even do any work until he left. That's the way he was. When he walked into a room, I didn't know whether my feet were up on a chair. I felt like I should put my feet down, or I felt like I shouldn't be too casual, you know. Right. But when I got to talking to him at his house, I got to be at his house. How many actors get to hang around and drink wine with Stanley Kubrick, which I did, and it was a trip. It was so surreal. And he said, "Tim, you have more energy than Kirk Douglas." he worked with him in Paths of Glory and Spartacus, you know. And so, yeah, you know, I thought he was a real nice guy, like a guy, just a nice guy, but intense and particular what he wants. And I also think that he made the right decision by keeping my laughs in there when he wasn't even on the set. So he's a good enough general or, you know, leader or director to say, hey, you know what, maybe my way didn't work. This over here in this corner here that I didn't even see him do, it might work. And guess what? It did work. That little scene became very memorable.
He gave you guys some freedom to kind of improv, right? And
well, he didn't. He didn't. He never gave me a chance to improv. In fact, my best work was when he wasn't around. That's interesting.
Oh, so the laughs were his suggestion.
He wasn't even around when I did that.
Ah, right. Okay. So there you go.
And then he saw it. And he said, "Don't laugh like that anymore. Give me an everyday killer smile." And I did. He goes, "Good. Do it 13 more times like that." And ends up using all the laughter that he told me was not any good to begin with.
Right. I mean, yeah, the laughs were some of the best part of the dialogue.
It almost, they really wanted me to be part of that weapon, you know? And I shot 6,000 rounds that day for that one weapon. That's a lot of rounds. And the bouncing of it almost became like my laugh. You know, almost my laugh blended in with the bouncing of the machine gun. So I'm kind of glad he let me shoot that much. And it was interesting acting with two actors that weren't in the same scene with you, that they're not even there. And I thought, this is the way you do movies? You know, this is a strange way to do it. So it kind of wasn't easy, but it sure did. He edited it. It came out a lot better than I think. He didn't know what to do with that scene. He tried to cut that scene out a couple of times. And it's right in the very middle of the movie. The movie starts at 9, I come right on at 10. In the middle of the movie. And it's an interesting, there's not a lot of laughter in that movie. And for some reason, people laugh at me doing what I'm doing. And I'm shooting women and children. So, you know, one of the things I try to teach, if you're an actor, even if you're a bad guy, you want to be a likable bad guy. And he was pretty likable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Mission accomplished there. So now, you know, military films have played such a huge role in the movie industry over the years. You know, it's no mystery that some of the greatest military films have been, you know, amazing recruiting tools for the military. You know, think about how many people joined the military because they were inspired by an amazing military film.
You know, I've heard a lot of people tell me that. A lot of people have told me I joined the Marines because of that role of you in Full Metal Jacket. I've had a lot of people tell me that, which is interesting, very interesting. You know, it's too bad that the script I have right now, The Birth of Pride, I took it to the Marine Corps in 1982 when I first gave it to them, and they immediately said, we cannot condone this. We want to teach through leadership and not intimidation. And at that time, they were intimidating every minute of the day, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would do it now. I might go back to them now. But when you independently film, the Marine Corps has nothing to do with you doing a film. You can do any kind of film you want. But I'd love to have the Marine Corps to get behind my film, because I think it would inspire. There hasn't been a drill instructor movie in a while, you know?
Oh, yeah,
The urban, what's that one, Officer and Gentleman? That's so much like my script in so many ways. I had a guy that couldn't get up the rope. He was in boot camp 6 months just because he couldn't get up the rope. But a guy, when he got his hair cut, he said, take a little off the side. They went, what? Give him the bullseye cut. And they cut his head into a bullseye. You know, there's some funny stuff that happened back then that they would never get away with now. But at that time, that was the period piece the way it was. And I'm proud to be a Marine. I'm proud I got to go through that. It's an organization that even the shitbirds are even still respected.
Oh yeah, for sure. It definitely is a huge thing for like the whole recruiting effort and inspiring the kids. You know, so that's something that's very vital. And what are your favorite military films overall? Give me your top 5 to 10 if you'd like.
I like Born on the 4th of July, Apocalypse Now. Born on the 4th of July, for some reason, just hit me. It felt like a kid. I got you. No, I didn't get you. Next thing you know, you're throwing rocks and hitting each other with them. And I felt like that's kind of the way I grew up. And then being in the Vietnam War, half the country was going, kill those commie bastards. And the other half are going, what the hell are you doing over there?
Yeah.
It's kind of like we're kind of going through now, the turmoil, the vision of America. It's the second time I've ever seen it in my life. And it sure is terrible when you're fighting for a country that half of them don't want you to be doing it. You know?
Yeah, it's very polarizing today. People are kind of, I mean, there's a lot of division, right? I mean, this like reminds you of the Vietnam era. Yeah.
That's the way history does repeat itself, you know? And
yeah.
I'm trying to think of any other great war films that I liked. Gosh, there's so many of them. Deer Hunter was great too.
Yeah.
Deer Hunter was another one of my favorites. Platoon's okay, and Saving Private Ryan. What's interesting about those movies, you see them once, you really don't care to see them again. With Full Metal Jacket, you could see it over and over and over again, and it never gets boring. It never does.
That is true.
It never got its proper due right away. It didn't win any awards or anything. It won a few things. And I don't know if you know this, but Platoon, Oliver Stone called Stanley and said, we both got these war films coming out. Who wants to go first? And Stanley went to the crew and says, what do you guys think? And they said, let Platoon go first. And that was probably a mistake because that was the first heavy, authentic war film that came out in a long time. And then Full Metal Jacket came afterwards.
Yeah, Platoon, I remember it was hard to, probably not a dry eye when you came out of that movie, right?
Yeah.
Platoon, I remember, I think I was probably like maybe 10 or 11 when that came out or whatever. I remember family members that went to see it. They were really, really moved by it. It was powerful. Yeah. You know, the content is so powerful.
Right.
And getting back to, you know, there not being a drill instructor film in a while, when you talked about the comedy, because, I mean, is there anything funnier than a drill instructor when they really get wound up? I mean, some of the greatest lines of all time. I mean, I remember a drill instructor telling us that he wasn't going to go out to the grenade range with us because 90% of us had the athletic ability of Richard fucking Simmons.
Yeah, they do have some great lines. Yeah, the thing is funny is you don't know when you're allowed to laugh or not either.
Oh yeah.
You're sometimes they let you laugh and sometimes they don't want you laughing. You know, a lot of times.
They pin you in a corner too, right? Oh, is drill instructor funny? Am I a clown? No, sir, you're not funny. Oh, I'm not funny. So what are you supposed to do? You just sit there and nod your head, right?
My favorite line when I got out of right off of the truck to go to boot camp, he grabbed me by the throat and said, "Do you like me?" I went, "Sir, yes, sir." I went, "Liking me leads to loving me, and loving me leads to fucking me. And motherfucker, you don't want to fuck with me." That's a good one.
Oh man,
that's in my screenplay. I got some real good stuff in my screenplay that's so true. You know, we had 2 minutes to eat, and I had my elbow on the table, and he threw a jelly patty at me and hit the guy next to me in the head. And then he threw another jelly, hit him in the head again. And he stood up and threw another one, hit him right in the nose. And he came around the corner, and I got out of the way so I could beat him up. And he smashed my head down on the silver tray and went, "Get your goddamn elbow off my table, you hear me, boy?" He missed me 3 times. I had no idea I did anything wrong. And then next time my face is going, and beans and corn are flying up in my face. And this other guy, I wonder what he must have been thinking the whole time. He got beamed 3 times. Oh God, there's some funny stuff that happens.
Oh, the chow hall, man. The tales of the chow hall, right? They'd say you get 20 minutes from the shortest guy. Bullshit, right?
It's so funny how every Marine that's ever been a Marine, relates to all these stories we're talking about, and whether it's 1940 or 2040, it'll be the same old thing.
Yeah.
It's the same, whether it's exactly the same. I used to hear when I was in the Marines, "Oh, you're lucky you're not in the old Corps."
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure you hear that. "Oh, you're lucky you're not in the old Corps." But I tell you, when I was in during the Vietnam War, since we were all going to Vietnam and we all did, they were pretty tough on us to make sure we were going to come back alive, and according to their mind.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah, and there's, I mean, there are some things that change. I mean, because when you went in, I mean, drill instructors would probably could give you a shot to the face, right?
They got their knuckles. They hit you in the solar plex all the time, knock the wind out of you and thump you, make you get on your hands and knees on your forehead with your hands behind your back on the street.
Yeah.
You come up and your forehead looks like hamburger meat. You know, it does. And they're not drawing any blood, but they're messing with you, you know. And there's something about it, though. There's something about it. I'm so proud I'm a Marine, so proud I did what I did. I mean, it changed my life completely. And that's what I say. I would have never gotten Full Metal Jacket if I wouldn't have been a Marine. Never.
Oh yeah, the authenticity of you serving and being able to bring that to the role. Because think about it, I mean, it's one of those things where if I could have a beer with my drill instructors now, I would jump at the chance right away. Like they really leave an imprint on you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can still remember their names. I can remember what they look like. I mean, I remember half of the things that they, you know, would come up with, and the different ways that they would mentally screw with you, you know?
Nowadays, I don't, smoking is a bad habit, and most people know that, and they don't smoke. But back in, when I was in boot camp 69, I didn't smoke cigarettes, but those that did, it was a reward if we did something good. He'd say, you know, you did a good job today. The cigarette lamp is lit for one cigarette. We go, "Sir, the cigarette lamp is lit for one cigarette and one cigarette only. Sir, caution, cigarette smoking may be hazardous to your health. We don't give a damn. We're going to Vietnam. Kill." Every time we had to say that. Every time.
Who gives a shit about a smoke when you're going to Vietnam, right?
"We don't give a damn. We're going to Vietnam." That's what he said. And, you know, if you have to be, no matter what training you are, if you're a powerful, strong, whatever, guide or whatever you are, if you can't shoot the weapon, they tell you you're not a good Marine. And they say if you're a non-qual, "We're going to see those mountains up there. We're going to bury you up in those mountains and tell your parents you went AWOL." And I believed them.
Right.
You know?
Like the Spartans, if you were born with something wrong with you, they toss you off a cliff, right? You can't be a warrior. Yeah. Hey, this little bastard's no good. Toss him over the cliff. Brutal, man.
I remember the first time I raised my arm and they said, "Anybody have any questions?" I go, "Sir, will this private be, he's never shot a weapon in his life. Will that be a negative?" "Negative. You don't have any bad habits yet. You'll be fine." Right? So the first day we shoot and we make our own, like scoring your golf course. Nobody's around. You can cheat all you want or whatever. But it was my first time I ever shot. I shot a marksman the first time, and I ended up shooting sharpshooter and just missed expert. But the very first day he goes, "All right, all non-quals and non-marksmen over here. All sharpshooters and experts over here." On the way back, I went to sharpshooters and experts to whistle the Marine Corps hymn. On the way behind them, 20 yards, I want you guys sucking your thumb and going, "I'm crazy. I'm crazy." If you see that scene, they're and beautifully marching, and right behind them, "I'm crazy. I'm crazy." I'll never forget. I had to be that guy. It's like we had M14s, you know, and there was a gas cylinder on the gas thing that had to have oil, or mechanically the weapon wouldn't work. And it says, "Make sure you keep grease on it all the time." In small parentheses, it says, "Except for rifle inspection," or "except for inspection." And those guys who didn't read that little thing when you're being rifle inspection, they open it up and they start putting black grease on your cheek and on your nose, and you look like a clown when you get home. You got this black stuff all over your face, and it's funny. There's like 5 of us. I was one of them too.
Some of the greatest one-liners. I mean,
that's why he got the role. You know what? That's why he got the role of the drill instructor. They loved his one-liners, and that's what got him the role. And he knew them because he'd been around a lot longer. And they didn't let me improv. There was a couple times I wanted to get off the dialogue, and they wouldn't let me do it.
Well, just think about all the different words they use for things, you know? I mean, your mouth, I mean, soup cooler, your hand, get your dick beaters in the air.
Yes, so
What's some of the funniest lines? I remember we had this Gunny in Iraq, and he was like born again hard, and his name was Gunny Hammer. Like it was his real name, but spelled Hamor, right?
Yeah.
And he would always come up and side eye you and be like, come up with some shit in the morning to kind of just bullshit with you. And he'd say, Clor, do you know what the Gunny has for breakfast? I'm like, no, Gunny, Wheaties? Breakfast of Champions? No, wrong. Copenhagen with a side of pussy. I said, it sounds like a nutritious breakfast, guy. And then he'd smile and his dip and shit. But, I mean, you can't even make these guys up, right?
No, they're great.
They're great.
The thing that people don't really realize is they're not, in the movie industry, they always cast them to be old. And they're not old. They're young. They have to be, I think, over 21, and they have to be overseas once. Is the only rules. But most of them are in great shape and not old. And in my screenplay, I showed the three of them. We had 3 drill instructors. In movies, they show 1,
Oh, yeah.
There's 3. There's 3 of them. And you need 3 of them to have a couple of days off. And you have the one that's, he's coming back. He's the scariest of the 3.
The kill hat, right? They call him the kill hat, I believe. Yeah. Because,
concept.
Yeah, think about, you got your dad. They call the senior drill instructor's dad, right? He's the guy that's supposed to kind of call off the dogs once in a while. He might be the nicest drill instructor, but he's still a prick, right?
Right.
Then you kind of have the 2 guys that are, I don't know if they're supposed to kind of be center of the road. Then you got the kill hat, I mean, the most ferocious drill instructor we had was like a fucking chihuahua, man. He'd like bark the loudest, and he was like 5'5", and I mean, then we had one that looked like Jim Carrey on steroids. He'd take off his cover and his belt and be like, drill instructor will gladly give up 10 years in the Corps to fuck you up in the tree line. And he'd take his shit off, any takers, any comers. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's too much, man. He definitely looked like Jim Carrey on juice. And then you start laughing, and then you get in shit. I was always smiling and laughing because the things they would say, I'm like, how the hell do you expect us not to laugh our ass off at this? I mean, they couldn't even help it once in a while.
You're not supposed to get anything in the mail. Could be pornographic or a knife or whatever. So I one time got a piece of double mint chewing gum. He made me eat the whole thing with the wrapper and everything on it. But this one guy, he got a box, and we all were wondering, hoping it's not ours, And he goes, well, let's see who it is. Linda Decker, who's that? Sir, the prophet's ex-girlfriend, sir. And he opens it up and goes, what do we got in here? Popcorn ball, a Mad magazine for his educational purposes. What do we have here? Army men? She sent you a package of Army men? Well, you'll have plenty of time to play with your goodies later on. That night I had to take a pee, and all of a sudden I heard this. And I looked over, and he was underneath the drill instructor's house, and he had all these Army men in the sand. And the drill instructor goes, I can't hear you. And he goes, he had to play all night long. He didn't go to sleep. He was playing the whole night long.
Oh, man. How about when they'd make you stand in the corner and say the same damn line over and over. I've been a bad boy, sir. I've been a bad boy, sir. I've been a bad boy, sir. By the time you're done with it, sir, been bad boy, sir, been bad boy, sir. Sir, been bad. You start freaking, like if you were a freaking robot, you'd just be starting to,
Here's a whack one. This didn't happen to me, but I heard this story. I think it's pretty reminded me about when I would do in my boot camp. They had these 2 twins, and one of them screwed up, so they buried him in sand. And they buried him all the way in the sand, and they put a piece of paper over his face, and then sprinkled sand over the paper so he could still breathe, but you couldn't see him at all. And he took a shovel to his neck and went, should I kill him? Should I kill him? And everyone was going, sir, yes, sir. And all of a sudden his brother's going, sir, no, sir. Sir, no, sir. He goes, you want to help your brother? He goes, sir, yes, sir. All right, get in there, dig him out. They dug his brother out, dug him in there, put sand on him, put the paper, put sand over his face. His brother was so screwed up from being underneath there. He goes, should I kill him? Should I kill him? His brother just came out and goes, sir, yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir.
Oh, they got more games than Milton freaking Bradley, right?
Yeah, it's the only organization that has so much pride, you know. And
Oh yeah.
when you say you're a Semper Fi to somebody, and you know he's a Marine, you automatically respect and like him. Maybe not forever, and maybe you'll be a dick after a while, but at least you got that initial. He's a Marine, you immediately like him.
Yes. Yeah. If one Marine walks up to another one, it's kind of like almost like family. It's yours to lose, right? I mean,
Yeah.
You kind of start out at a level of respect that you can either improve upon and make greater, or lose it. You know, so it's definitely the pride and the brotherhood. Well, think about if you walk by a recruiting station, the Army, hey, we'll give you a $30,000 bonus. The Navy, you'll travel the world, give you a $30K. The Air Force, you're going to have the nicest shit in the military. The Marine Corps, what do you guys got to offer? You ain't getting shit. You get the title Marine. And in fact, I don't even know if I want you in my beloved Corps. You know, they pull the takeaway. I don't even know if I'm going to put you in. You're not worthy of being in this brotherhood. Well, how about bonus money? You ain't getting shit. You get to wear the uniform. Right?
Money.
So think about that. You know, I mean, that's the thing.
You know, I have a brother that went in. He's 15 years younger than me. He went in the Marine Corps as a helicopter mechanic, and then became a Learjet mechanic. My older brother went in the Marine Corps as an officer. He was in the FBI when he got out for 20 years and retired. So I got 5 boys in my family, and 3 of them are Marines, and I was the first to join. And it wasn't like I said, "Hey, Brian, go join the Marines." And I don't know why it happened that way. We're like patriotic Marine guys. It just happened to be that worked. And the thing I didn't like about the Marines is that people at that time, maybe still, I didn't want to be known as a killer or a rapist. I just wanted to be a Marine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't like that part. They assumed because you're a Marine that you might be a rapist and love to kill and you're a killer. And that's far from it.
Yeah.
It really
is. Absolutely. And that was especially during the Vietnam era, right? You guys were coming home.
Yeah.
I mean, that the things, the treatment that the Vietnam veterans received compared to the treatment today. And that's one of the things that I've noticed from the East to the West is the way veterans are treated today from the public is so much better. It's people I think really extend and show the respect and thanks to veterans today. I mean, there's so many different programs for veterans. I think we're improving on that whole front.
I think so. I think we are. And we got the Marine Corps birthday coming up. We got Veterans Day coming up. You know, Semper Fi to all you Marines, and bless all those that serve our country. For, you know, we got the greatest country in the world, and let's unite again. Let's get together. Let's be loving, kind to one another. But when you have to kick some ass, we can do it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's time to come together and cut down on that division. That's no good for our country at all. So it's, you know, hopefully we can remember that.
Tough times. You know, 9/11 came 3 days later. We were all together, powerfully united, and it was over with.
Right.
This pandemic has been around too long. You know.
Yeah.
Time to get the world moving again. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely.
We have to fight it, but don't let it scare you. Don't fear it. Let's just beat it when it comes.
That's right. I mean, we got to get back to life as soon as possible. So, well, I tell you what, brother, it's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Dan. Always great to see you guys. You know, keep in touch. I'll let you know what's going on. And while I'm in town, let's hook up.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely put that together. So, I mean, you want to tell the people, where they can find you, or we talked a little bit about what you have coming up. Why don't you tell the people what you're going to be up to here immediately, or how to get a hold of you, or anyone's interested in booking you?
I've actually got a website for the first time ever. I got this woman kind of getting my life together. I got new headshots. I got a new manager.
There you go.
If you go to my website, it's timcolceri.com. You can see those articles that are up with the Hollywood Reporter. Cinema Tyler did something with what I went through with Stanley Kubrick, and they put a visual to it. It's really done well. You'll see a lot of Stanley Kubrick and Lee Ermey and how he got the role and what I went through, and it's really done well. Also, some of my demo tapes are on there. I'm up for a role that's called I forgot the name of the damn thing. Anyway, it's going to be shot in West Virginia. Michael Keaton's involved. Dope Sick. It's about OxyContin. It's the OxyContin. There's a pharmaceutical company made so much money, then they got sued for it. He's dead now, but I'm playing a real live human being that was a big wealthy, in charge of everybody. You know, kind of a dick, but not yelling dick. Really intensive. You know, lawyers. I have butlers, and it's not the normal role. It's not like a door gunner role. Completely opposite, really. It's hard for me to memorize the dialogue because the dialogue is not the way I speak. I can speak like a door gunner or like a cop.
Sure.
Because you feel like you're that guy, but this character is nothing like me. But I did a pretty good job. We'll see if I get cast. If not, you know, I got some other things going on. I just got the call. I did to call him back for the Michael Bay film, Ambulance. It's coming out, and it's a really good script. There's a couple of good cop roles. I'm trying to see if I can get in to see. They'll see me. I play those roles all the time. They're easy. The one that's hard for me is kind of fun for me because it's different. You know, it's
sure the challenge is stepping outside the box, right?
I also get tired of yelling all the time. I guess I'm good at yelling, you know, or getting intense. You know, I like to use I call it my resin voice. How you doing?
Well, I tell you what, brother, you have energy for days, man. I was just really impressed. You were hanging with us on that Marine Corps ball. We had a great time. Remember all the shots?
We did.
All the shots they were sending up on
stage?
The
ball. People were fun there. You had a good group of guys there, good women too, you know, families.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was. Did you get a good response on that? Did everybody like it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everyone did. I mean, we got a lot of good feedback, and people enjoyed your show. And, I mean, that was a beautiful – oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll tell people real quick how Tim and I met. Actually, through one of Tim's students is a good friend of mine, Shane Nicholson, one of your students there. And
oh, yeah, Shane's great. He's an ex-Marine.
Yeah, absolutely. Shane's a good dude. The only problem with Shane, he's a Chiefs fan, like producer Don here.
Is that right?
Yeah. I'll get that shit out of here. You just read the
video. They're going to be tough again.
Get that shit out of here. Anyone could see that American Warrior is a Raider organization here. But
they're going to be tough, too. They're playing this year also, man.
Oh, yeah. They're looking all right, man. I mean,
they are.
You know what? We stand at 4-3, and they've been pretty competitive. They did beat the Chiefs this year.
They did, didn't they?
But, yeah, we asked Tim to come up and do a one-man show at our American Warrior Festival, the Music and Film Fest in Los Angeles. And we had some bands playing, including Weapon X, and some films from local Los Angeles filmmakers. It was a Marine Corps birthday, so we had a bunch of friends that we served with in Iraq. So
we did the cake ceremony. Remember the cake ceremony?
The cake, yeah, absolutely. The cake ceremony.
Yeah.
I thought you said the keg ceremony. I'm like, well.
No, the cake. You know what? I didn't know it was me and Leo. Thank God Leo was there. He knew the proper ceremony. There was a lot of. We had to do some rehearsing. Remember in the back, real quick.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember there were some Marines who were like, "Shit, man, we didn't want to do the standard operating procedure one. This shit takes too long. Put the goddamn knife in the cake and let's go, right? You know, get the oldest Marine and the youngest Marine, cut the goddamn cake and let's rock."
Oh,
but he did a good job of keeping the traditions the way that they should be. And
he had a ball too. He's such a stud Marine. He's still in the Marines. I think he's got one more year. He might be getting out. He's been there 40. I don't know. He's been there. He's had 5 tours.
Holy
5.
Shit! Wow.
He's first sergeant now, and in Vegas. His groups are now in Vegas.
Really?
His grunts were in Vegas, and it was 115 degrees this summer. They had to stop 3 times and not go out. It was that hot.
Oh man, that's no fun.
No, but yeah, he loved it, and wants to know the next time you have one, I want to get both of us to jump in there again with you.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, that sounds like a plan. And shit, man, I wish I knew you were in Tustin. You thought I was in New York. I thought you were in Vegas.
Oh, that's funny.
I guess I could have sent you a message. I knew you come out here. I just didn't know that.
Funny.
Yeah, unbelievable. But anyways, we made the best of it, and had a great time tonight. And I appreciate you coming on, and we'll be in touch, and we'll get that beer soon.
Okay. See you, Dan. See you, Don. See everybody. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. You take care.
Bye-bye.
The American Warrior Festival podcast, brought to you by Oliver's Candies. the creator of the American Warrior Festival Candy Bar. Oliver's Candies is proud to offer you the largest selection of award-winning chocolates made in Western New York. Visit them online at oliverscandies.com.
What's going on, everybody? Don T. Pena here. Just wanted to take a minute to thank our fellow Patreon supporters and let you know that if you wanted to become a fellow supporter of our podcast, all you got to do is click on the link below that is in your show notes. Or if you're listening to this / watching this on YouTube, all you got to do is go to the video description. We will have a link to the Patreon page right there in that description as well. And that will take you to the homepage where you can see the 6 different options for our Patreon program. Feel free to browse through it, guys. Click on them, see which one best suits you, and any support, any help that you guys would offer us is much appreciated. It helps us put more content out for you and push this podcast to that next level. Once again, guys, thank you for all your support. We're going to continue to do our job. You guys have a great rest of your day. We're out.
The American Warrior Festival podcast is brought to you by the Red Osier Landmark Restaurant, Oliver's Candies, Smokin' Eagle Barbecue and Brew, The Firing Pin, Orcon Industries, Ken Barrett Chevrolet Cadillac, TF Browns, One LLP, Batavia Legal Printing, Gun Track App, and AmeriHome Healthcare.
This is Candy. You're listening to the American Warrior Festival podcast.